first guest, wants you to achieve a happier, healthier, more balanced life by enhancing the three most important relationships in your life: the relationship with yourself, others, and something greater. Here to explain more is life coach and relationship expert Ryan Haddon. Ryan, thanks for joining us this morning.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
How can we practice loving unconditionally even during tough times?
Well, I think every relationship begins with our relationship to self. So you want to start there. So the quality of all our other relationships reflects that primary relationship you have with you. So if you're kind, if you're patient, if you're tolerant, if you are able to be compassionate to yourself and heal your own intolerance and perfectionism, then you're going to extend that to others. And so relationships are going to get better. And other people will have that same reflection back at you. So it really begins with that primary relationship. And that's not evident because we always think that some relationship's going to deliver something to us. There's some magical ingredient that someone else is going to
Mm-hmm.
bring to the mix. But it's remembering that it starts with you. So that's really empowering.
Well, why is fostering this relationship with yourself, why is that a key to bettering all of your relationships?
Because we attract where we're at. So, how we speak to ourselves, how we create space and tolerance for our own imperfections, is how other people will lend that same quality to how they deliver that rapport with you on a day to day. So, it really is an energetic thing, and it's also just a worth thing. So, you attract where you're at. And you can really apply that to if you have troubled relationships in your life, then you might want to take a look at how you speak to yourself, how you self soothe, how you show up for yourself, for your own needs and wants on a daily basis. So you can begin just to start to bring some consciousness around how you relate to you, especially in moments of duress.
That's a really nice way to start thinking about how you can better your relationships. What are some of the tips you have for also manifesting the relationship that you really want?
Again, it's going to be how you speak to yourself, your self talk. So start there. And then maybe you take an inventory of your past relationships. What has worked? What hasn't worked? What could be better? How did you show up in those relationships? Because we're responsible for all of our emotional life, right? We're responsible for what we're pulling in, what's on our screen. And that gives us a lot of power. That's very, very empowering, right? So we get to see how we showed up in the past, what's worked and what hasn't. And if you're single, it's an opportunity to see where you have allowed maybe some old ideas around love, some old ideas around partnership. Maybe it's time to look at some unhealed traumas from your childhood, different parts and pieces. It's how we put it all together. And it's really about you showing up with your full self in partnership with someone else.
So, Ryan, what are some practices people can do to access their highest self?
Hmm. Well, there's lots, but really essentially, there's many techniques for meditation, for breath work, but it's very, very simple. So, what if we just created, maybe set a timer for just a few minutes a day to just focus on our breathing, breath coming in and breath coming out, dropping past all the 30,000 thoughts we have a day that are mostly unconscious, and then dropping past those thoughts into a place of stillness that exists in every one of us. So it's just finding that way in, and that might be when you're washing the dishes. It could be in a very practical way of just allowing yourself to be present in that very moment, not daydreaming and escaping and thinking about other things, but really bringing yourself into that moment through your senses. And that creates presence. It could be taking a nature walk. It's just about the awareness you bring to whatever you're doing. So it's great to sit in the lotus position in front of a sacred altar. Those are great to create spaces like that. But essentially, it's how you bring that awareness to everyday moments that creates presence, that creates a connection to you, that stops the monkey mind from all its jumping from thought to thought unconsciously. And then we end our day and we're like, what were we thinking all day? So it's really about just creating those little moments of awareness throughout your day. And a lot of that can be accessed through breath and through awareness.
As someone who has her wheels turning all day, I can appreciate that reminder to just take a deep breath. And as easy as it sounds to kind of like treat yourself well so that you can put out those
Mhm.
good vibes, that love, it's not going to happen overnight, is it?
No, but it's in the small ways. So I think it's again being compassionate to you and expanding our idea of what spirituality looks like, what accessing a higher self looks like. It's not these transcendental moments, although those are amazing, but it's in the small little moments of our daily routine that we can bring that awareness. And even if you created one or two in a day, that's great. And then you can reflect at night and say, you know what? I noticed that I did that. And that's where you create that self-talk that's kind and generous and say, this is improving.
So those baby steps, one foot in front of the other, one day at a time, and work towards that self-love. Thank you for coming on today, Ryan, and sharing that with our audience. For more relationship advice, you can go to ryanhaddon.com.